for God. And he was a long time ago. So Jonah would get messages from God. God would send him messages. And he would in turn go and tell the people what God had told him. That was his job. So one night after he had been preaching, he decided to go back to the house and get some well-needed rest. He fell asleep, and sometime during the night, a voice came to him.
Jonah, arise, go to the city of Nineveh and speak against it, for it has come up before me.
So Jonah got up and thought about what God had requested him to do. It was a little more than what that. It was, Nineveh was such an awful place, filled with mean, horrible people. And he really didn't want to go there because he'd feel uncomfortable. So he decided to try to trick God and to run away from him. And so instead of going to Nineveh, which is that way, he went the opposite way to Tarshish. So he got his boat ticket, and he got on the boat. Now he's feeling pretty good about himself. He thought, hey, I can just relax and take it easy because I've tricked God and he doesn't know where I'm at. But as we know, God is everywhere. And so God sent a big storm to move the ship. And the storm would not stop, so they all had to go down to the bottom of the deck to stay safe because the waves were crashing over onto the boat. So the cruisemen went down as well. The cruisemen were terrified, and they started to pray to their gods. But they weren't our God. They were different gods, and ones that couldn't help them any. And so Jonah knew what was going on now. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he should try to pray or if he should just kind of stay out of the way because he knew what was going on. So Jonah, the cruisemen had to try to lighten the ship so the ship wouldn't sink. So they started throwing cargo overboard. And that still didn't work. They threw everything that they could overboard. But it still was not enough. The storm kept raging outside. So finally, they decided to do something which is called casting lots, which is kind of like picking straws. So if you've ever picked straws and whoever gets the short straw is the loser. That's kind of what they did in a sense. So Jonah got the short straw. So Jonah decided to tell them everything that had happened, how he had run away, how he had tried to run away from God and that it didn't work. So now he said the only way that they can save their lives is to throw him overboard. But the cruisemen had grown fond of him and they did not want to do that because they knew it would be sudden death. And so they tried to throw more cargo overboard. And they kept trying to pray to their false gods, but nothing helped. Nothing helped at all. So finally they went up to the top of the deck. And as Jonah requested, they threw him overboard. Jonah quickly realized once he was in the water that he can't swim. So God had mercy on him though. God sent a big fish to swallow him whole. So there Jonah was, inside of a big fish, all alone for 3 days. And 3 nights. Finally, Jonah had learned his lesson. He decided to pray to God and tell him that if you let me go, if you get me out of this fish, then I will go to Nineveh. And if you let me live, I will go to Nineveh. And I will go tell them everything you told me to tell them about your good news, about the gospel that you want to share with them. Said, okay, so at the end of his prayer, God decided to grant his prayer request. So he had the fish spit him up on dry land. So now Jonah's on dry land finally again, and he is covered in fish. And so now he decides to try to get all of this stuff off of him and to go as quickly as he can to Nineveh, which is a 3-day journey from where he's at. So finally he reaches Nineveh.